Welcome to another episode of That Crazy Triangle Guy. Here we are looking at Bitcoin US dollar index on the weekly time frame, and we're back in time in April of 2020 at the previous halving. And I have my cursor marking the measured move the week after the halving. 14% dump after the week after the halving, after pumping into the halving the week of the halving. Not much of a dump, and it looks pretty much like that kind of movement up or down was typical week to week or so. Yeah, and so that is a weekly change. Not much of a big deal. Now the point I'm making here is that after the halvings, here, a couple months, 3 months after the halving, we start our parabolic run. But before doing so, the market wants to get rid of all the excess leverage, weak hands, all that kind of crap. So we would dump. Before pumping, got to have a dump, a capitulation dump. And didn't really have much of one here, but we did have this big dump, the big coronavirus dump, just prior to the halving, which really shook up the market. About a 64% dump there. Just, a few weeks before the halving. So that kind of did the job. Let's go back to the previous halving here in July of 2016. You can see here we had that move. Just a few weeks after the halving, shake out all the weakness and the craziness in the market before starting this parabolic run. Now, albeit I noticed here, we started the run and we had a couple more shakeouts as well before really going parabolic. And then along the way, did continue to have a couple large shakeouts here. That was 2016. Now I'm not, well, you know what? Let's measure this one, this initial one here. Let's measure from there to there. It's about a 30% move. And on that single week, about a 25% move. All right, let's go back to the previous one. Oh, where was it? 2012. It should be 2012. You know what? I didn't mark it off. Well, Google says it was November 28th of 2012. So I'm just going to go by what Google says. Google's the smartest, right? And let's mark that off with a vertical line. November. Oh, so it would be this week right here. I'll just mark it off on a weekly time frame for now and make it our blue color. There you go. Now let's look at it here. What? Is that right? Oh, you know what? I'm on the wrong. I'm going to pause here. Okay, we're back. So when I went over to Google, apparently my chart moved over. Let's go back to 2012 right here. And to November-ish time frame. And let's make a little vertical line here. Vertical line on 28th right there, that week right there. Okay, so that's the halving in 2012. Didn't see much here. Let's measure this move because we don't really know what kind of reference we have here. Oh, that's like 7%. So in 2012, we did not have any sort of a dump prior to taking off. Although, once again, here we had a big dump just a couple months prior. Not much either. That's 8%. So 2012. Oh, look at this. But that is how much earlier? Like 5 months earlier, we did see a pretty dramatic move there. Still, so, Bitcoin was new. It's trading down around, 20, $30, $2. We did see a 90 plus percent dump just a few months or 5 months earlier from, wow, $32 down to $2. So, that probably did shake out a lot of people. Anyway, so you kind of get the point. I'm thinking we got to have a big dumpage before our pumpage. And, they like to do that. And thus far, what have we had? It's been like 15%, hasn't it? Let's just take it all the way. A little bit below. Yeah, from about 73. What's the lowest we came? Lowest we came was about right there. Yeah, about 18% down to 59. Is that enough of a shakeout? Now, I've been postulating that we come down further. We get a real big shakeout down to around 48,000, maybe. At least down to 55. The reason being, that's not what I wanted to do. The reason being can be seen here on the Bitcoin liquidation heat map. Now, we're looking at a 3-month. We are looking at the Bitcoin symbol in general, and we're looking at Model 2. And so the reason being would be to liquidate these people here under 60,000 down to about 55,000. And if not, come down here and liquidate these people, or certainly scare them enough to give up their positions and sell some Bitcoin to the big players. And I believe that the whales exchanges and the other guys, market makers, and maybe some of the Wall Street guys would want to try to do this before moving higher. And I think they got one last chance to do it. Now we're looking at FBTC, the Fidelity Wise Origin Bitcoin. Bitcoin what? What is it called? Wise Origin Bitcoin something or other. It's an exchange traded fund. And so Wall Street really doesn't want to do this during the week they would want to do it on the weekends. And the reason being is that they got to make this look nice. They got to make this chart not look too scary for those interested in investing in Bitcoin. Their customers, their retirement accounts, all that other stuff that they want to pull into this market. They don't want this chart to look too scary. So they're going to want to do their dirty business on the weekends. So during the week, I don't think we would see more than right there down to the bottom of this parallel channel, about a 4% move before Friday. Now, what's interesting is that I drew this parallel channel to kind of capture the Bitcoin trading here. You have the top of the channel here, the bottom of the channel here, and the center line catching the bottom of this candle, the bottom of that candle, the daily close of that candle, the bottom of that wick, the daily close of that candle. And then you also got these candles over here on the bottom, as well as those two there. So I tried to capture the current movement, the current trajectory of Bitcoin from this price action here. And even going back to where it started, kind of. And before we move over to the Bitcoin chart, let's look at what the rest of the market is doing as we are about to open. See, they don't have futures on there, but you can see Tesla's up quite a bit in pre-market trading. Whatever. Tesla had good earnings. Okay, so we can't see much there. Let's move on to a Bitcoin chart. We're on a daily time frame. What's really, really interesting is that parallel channel that I just showed you on FBTC is the same as these parallel channels you see here going up and to the right. And the one on the FBTC represents the bottom of this channel here, and then it goes up half, 1 and 1.5 channels to the top here. And then the center line is actually here on somewhere around April 1st. Somewhere around there. It captures, it's right in between these two channels. It's right in between the lower portion of this channel right here. So that's what that channel on FBTC represents. It represents the bottom of this larger symmetrical triangle or ascending triangle that we're trading in, and then goes up 1.5 channels from that point up to here. So that's really, really interesting. I drew it separately, and well, it's not surprising because the price action is the same. But it's interesting that it's so accurately matched up with these long-term channels. Remember, these channels depict Bitcoin price action going all the way back over a decade. So I won't go back here, but I've done that enough times that you should know that. Now, I have these two new green lines here, kind of making a channel. I haven't really finished this, but this bottom green line here represents the current symmetric triangle that we are trading in and are about to make a decision with. And you'll see that in a minute. After making that line up here in this area, I extended it to the left and cloned it to make a perfectly parallel line. And you can see that it follows the price action here pretty exactly, creating this parallel channel. So we got something going on there. Now, switching to current price action on a 4-hour chart, you can see here that from April 13th to present day, here's the, I'll make this thicker here. That's the green line I was just showing you. And we're forming a symmetric triangle with the top of our parallel channel that is a bull flag in our downward trend that we've been trading in. And this forms a symmetric triangle. And currently, what are we doing? Oh, look at that. We're dumping. Oh, this is awesome. Okay, good. I was predicting that we would dump from here. And you could see this week we've been hitting it, rejection, 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 all the way down here. And now we're dumping. That's good. Good, good, good. As market is just about to open. Be interesting to see what I guess now remember the 4% move or so that we measured on FBTC for the week before the weekend dump. From where we were at, we were up here when I was talking about it. We've just since then had a pretty significant move downwards, about 1% or so. Remember, 4% would take us where? Right to the bottom of our parallel channel here. So that's what I see us doing until Friday. Continuing to trade within. We're going to dump down out of this symmetric triangle, but I don't know if we'll dump down the measured move, which would be all the way down to the bottom of the channel here at around 56, 55,000. I don't think we're going to make that move this week, but possibly over the weekend. But I do see us coming down about 5% into Friday. It would also bring us down below the mean band of the Gaussian channel, which is right there. That's what these curved lines are. They represent the daily Gaussian channel. And I will switch to a daily and show you that. I've turned on the Gaussian channel. We're on a daily time frame. And you can see the channel to the left there. It only goes as far as price action, and then I've guesstimated the rest of the move here. Of course, that changes daily, and you can see this one right here is a little bit off already. But I'll have to adjust it later because it's very difficult to do. Now we have these vertical lines here. And this is what I've been saying and what I believe is going to happen. Is that we dump down. This is the FOMC meeting. This is the CPI data. I believe over the weekend we're going to dump down here. Where's Sunday? This is going to be a big move. From where we're currently at all the way down to there is a 15% move. So I don't know if we're going to come all the way down to 55. That might be out of the question now. I at least think that we would come down to about 60,000. And that seems to be a little bit more reasonable and make more sense. That would be about a 9% move. And we would do that over the weekend. The FOMC meeting is next Wednesday. And typically we dump down into the meeting. Maybe if we have a dump over the weekend, we might have a slight come up into the weekend. Let's go look at FBTC again. So remember, we're talking about a 9% or a 15% move current action. So here we are on the FBTC chart on the daily time frame, and I pulled about a 9% move from where we're currently at. And as you can see, that gets us to 52. I'm going to erase that because I'm going to take 52 over to next week. And as you can see from where my cursor is to where the previous low is, that this right here is pretty much parallel to this line right here. Let me just draw a trend line right there. You know what I'm going to do? Watch this. What I'm going to do, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this. Now, this isn't going to be real accurate because I'm not bothering to go Monday to Monday. We do that, and then we go to like Monday or Tuesday next week. Monday next week. That gets us to about 53. Let's measure that move from where we are currently at. That's just about a 9% move. So that sounds very reasonable. And I think actually that could be what is expected. We will dump down to 60,000 over the weekend. And I guess then move upwards into the halving as the market waits to see what Powell is going to say. Now, I'm going to switch to a different fidelity chart for a second. Well, here on my other fidelity chart, a 9% move on Monday would be down to the center line of these two parallel channels. Our parallel channel, both like channel heading downwards and also this purple channel heading upwards. So that lines up. Now we're looking at Solana. A 12% dump over the weekend for Solana would take us down to the bottom of this parallel channel, rising upward, and to that white horizontal line at about 137. That lines up. Now, mind you, these are the last moves before we pump. Let's look at render. It's been very, very dumpy. It's down 50% from what it was like a month or so ago. 12% move or so for render. That takes us back to the top of this red channel. That'd be about a 15% move over the weekend to the top of this channel. I really back down to 750. Hate to see that. It's possible. It's possible. If you are seeing this, I mean, be ready. Now, I don't know if we're going to get this dump. Might not. We might see a pump here. They might not be able to dump us this weekend. But be ready to pick up some bargain basement buys here. Let's go look at AVAX maybe. Oh, I remember. This is a real simple crisscross chart, but it's very relevant. Well, that would be a big dump for AVAX to come all the way down there. 20%. Maybe AVAX just comes down 8%. Yeah, I don't know. Those are things to think about. Or could everything just move upwards here? I don't think we're going to see a pump into the FOMC meeting. I really, really don't. Let's just see what Bitcoin is doing currently. Oh my lord, what chart are we on? I forgot we're on a different chart. But let's look on this chart. What would be a 9% move comes up down to the center line of the screen parallel channel, which kind of makes sense. And then kind of makes sense with where I placed these orange channels. This is on an older chart. We would come down here and then start pumping upwards this way. Now, the CPI data release, FOMC is next week, and then the CPI is the following week. So actually, what I'm proposing certainly plays out with these channels I laid out here, in that we would come back down here and start our parabolic run over this way a little bit. Now, I don't think we're going to do that in May. I don't think we're going to do that until June, somewhere over here. But things are lining up. Let's switch back. This chart has a lot of lines on it, so let's switch back to our other. The other thing I wanted to point out too here is if you look at BTC1 exclamation point, that is Bitcoin CME futures, 65,820. Bitcoin's currently trading at 65,873. Futures is trading at a discount to spot. What does that tell you? Okay, it is never at a discount to spot unless we are dumping. It's usually trading. I mean, even in a bad case scenario, it's trading even or slightly higher than spot. And usually, if we're very very pumpy, it's trading at like $800 premium to spot. So this is telling me that the Wall Street boys or whoever, they know we're going to dump this weekend. And we're seeing this rejection here. With all this testing here, I was kind of concerned that we would break through. I mean, it sounds weird to say that I was concerned, but because it would go against what I believe is going to happen. Um, and I did think there is a possibility that we would pump up to the top of the daily Gaussian channel here as a fake out. And that certainly is on the table still. We could see a fake out up to the top of the daily Gaussian channel. That would be around 69,000. And you notice these numbers coincide with what another person is saying on the internet and some other people. And I honestly think that they're deriving their numbers from things like the daily Gaussian channel and parallel channels and triangles that they draw on other charts and then relate it to their data. I don't know. Maybe it's just that their data and my data are, using different methods to come up with the same numbers. It could very well be. And if so, that's great because it shows you there's multiple ways to look at things and get the same results. So, anyway, that's kind of like a line in the sand here. If we break above 69,500, it's looking good, looking bullish, but otherwise we're still in the Gaussian channel here. And the bottom of the channel is, again, it's around $60,000. And what I just noticed here, that's really, really interesting because I've been proposing that we come all the way down here to 55K to the bottom of this channel. But what I'm realizing is that we've had this move downwards in this channel here for a few weeks, going on a few weeks now. And heading into one more week coming down in this channel, eventually we do break out of this channel. And if we're going to break out of this channel, would the last move be a move all the way down to the bottom of the channel? Or would the last move before a breakout be coming back down to the center line of the channel? Just right here at the FOMC meeting at $60,100. It's right here at the bottom of this channel. See all these lines intersecting right there? I think on Wednesday we'll be at $60,100. And that will be your last opportunity to buy Bitcoin at its lowest price ever again. Its lowest price ever again. And then from that point, we continue onwards and upwards and over here. And then finally, hey, where'd my line go? Why is it doing that? There should be a line over here with the CPI data release. You know what? Look at what the. Oh no, that's right. FOMC meeting is there, and then CPI data is like the following week. I don't remember the exact day. Somewhere around here. So we would come down there, maybe chop along here, and if we get good numbers in CPI, we shoot upwards. If we get bad numbers, then maybe we do come down to that $56,000 range. The other thing I did want to point out, and it's here on the Eric Crown Crypto channel. He's talking about in his most recent video, the Bitcoin price floor is moving higher. Now, there's a price floor tied to the cost to mine Bitcoin. And after our recent halving, that price floor has moved up to $77,000. And watch this video and he'll go over how price action has stayed above that price and historically, and at most has come down below it maybe about 15% at times in the past, but those have been rare cases, and those have been around the halving event itself. So that falls in line with my theory too, that if we are going to see any downward price action, it's going to be this weekend, and it'll be the last time probably. So check that out, and we're now looking at Bitcoin on the 5-minute chart, and you can see currently we've fallen out of this symmetric triangle that we've been trading in. We are coming back up, and I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see what happens here. See if we get a rejection here at about 66,300 and keep heading downwards, or if this is a fake out and we come back up, maybe widen the channel. That's possible. I mean, widen the triangle. That is certainly possible. However, we're also dealing with this parallel channel, and maybe perhaps that this is the start of a breakout from that channel. Could very well be. This could be the start of a breakout from this channel. I don't know. We'll know more at the end of the day, probably, and tomorrow. And all right. So like, subscribe, and see you next time.